Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good afternoon, Los Angeles. What is going on here? Rain? I never heard of such a thing. Is that a new thing?
I don't hear myself.
What do you mean you don't hear yourself?
I don't hear you.
You don't hear me?
Nope. Could be a good thing, no.
I don't know about that. Is it working? All right. This is KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM. Patty loves it when I say and. She appreciates that New York accent. Anyway, here we are.
Hello, Peter.
Hello. So there's this stuff coming outside. I don't know what it is.
It's
I got all wet. Somebody told me it's called rain. I have no idea, but I guess that's what happens.
My grass looks so awesome. I pulled out of my driveway this morning. I'm like, gosh, my grass looks so great.
I thought grass was supposed to be brown.
No, yeah, California.
All dried out. Anyway, we have a great show here today, and we have a lot of things going on the Ask Brien site. So we are working on the Ask Brien site, the revision. We're almost done. We're almost complete. And for people that have not tuned into the station, and I don't know why anyone would not tune into the station, nor would I not understand why anyone would not tune into Ask Brien. But for those of you who have not, Ask Brien is basically a business resource to help business owners with any business issues they have. They can ask a question to a community. They can ask a question to an expert, have an expert in the field answer that question. They can have watch a video on a specific subject where they have difficulty with. They can watch a webinar. They can have an ebook, and they can schedule their webinar so they can put it out. They have their own personal calendars, everyone that's a subscriber to it. So it's really, really cool. We're in the middle of a revision right now to the site, and actually we're working today right now on a bot. Do you know what a bot is?
I want to say it's like a cookie, similar to a cookie kind of thing in the.
No, so a cookie is basically that's tracking information. So a cookie would track all the identifying information. Okay, you went to this site, you went here, you went there, showing where you went on the web, and then basically people can remark it to you. A bot is completely different. A bot is basically if you ask, for instance, if you have Alexa, right? If you had Alexa, do you know what that is?
I do.
All right. If you ask Alexa a question, the answer is coming back from a bot.
Oh.
Kind of like robot, but it's not a robot. And so anyway, the way it works is the bot, you can program in specific questions, specific answers, and that's what Ask Brien is working on right now. We're going to have that on a whole bunch of different places. Slack is the first place we've got it.
Nice.
And so if you have a question, you can ask it, and there's a large database of questions. If you don't get the answer, then it'll say, go to Ask Brien and ask you the question. But most of the questions are, believe it or not, when you have to go through 1,000 questions and answers, you get quite a bit of depth of information. So that's something we're working on. That's really cool. So I encourage everybody. Now, the Ask Brien radio show with my fabulous co-host, Patty, who's an awesome. If anybody absolutely positively needs to get a mortgage, you better call Patty. Or Ask Brien may call you.
I would be happy to help, yes.
And not only that, but Patty is an author as well, so she's an authority. Anyway, I guess the rain has gotten to me. So
that's all good.
We have a wonderful guest. Okay, our guest is actually he's quite a. Let's see, how can I describe him? He's an attorney. He has his own law practice. He's a mediator, so he mediates disputes, and he writes books. And I don't know what else he does, but we're about to find out over the next 40 minutes. Wayne, are you there?
Yes, I am, Peter. How are you and Patty?
Okay.
Hello, Wayne.
I take it you didn't want to come here because you too are like other Californians, afraid of the rain. Is that it?
When I see moisture in the air, I go inside. I hunker down.
Yeah, it's smart. With the freeways, it seems like the driving just becomes idiotic when there's a little moisture on the ground. I don't get it, but it's crazy. So you were smart to stay put. So
Wayne, let's go through a little bit about your background. I know you are a lawyer and you are practicing law. Did you have any career before being a lawyer?
Yes, I actually have had, in a way, 3 careers. While in college and after college, I worked in political campaigns in Los Angeles city government. I was the campaign manager for 2 successful Los Angeles city council campaigns. One of those council members, Zev Yaroslavsky, Zev became a Los Angeles County supervisor. So I was on the staffs. I was chief of staff for 2 Los Angeles City Council members. I served on 2 government commissions appointed by the L.A. County Board of Supervisors. And I was in government, loved government and politics, and I then also worked in real estate development, both prior to and after law school. And then I've been practicing law over 20 years.
Well, that's a lot of stuff to be doing. I don't know how you have time to do anything else. Especially, I know you have a family and a whole bunch of other things going on. So to be able to fit that all in your life, that's pretty incredible. Question for you that I didn't know about your past vast political background. So obviously, our listeners here are here for business and trying to learn about business. So I have a couple of questions I'd like to go through that. So let me ask you a question. When people have a business problem, can they come to a councilman? Can they speak to the councilman? Can the councilman help them out? What's the role of the city council in that respect?
Okay. Well, Santa Clarita is its own incorporated city, so most of that Santa Clarita Valley is in the city of Santa Clarita, and there are 5 council members. I represented clients in Santa Clarita, and I once lived in Stevenson Ranch, which is adjacent to Santa Clarita. Mm-hmm. So in Santa Clarita, sure, if you have a problem with a municipal problem, it would be a police problem, a fire problem, a transportation problem, a business problem. If you have a problem with your business, you can talk to your council member, and generally they will be responsive because they, for the obvious reason, they want your vote the next time the election comes around. So that's what they're there for, to help their constituents. And if it's a city problem, Santa Clarita City Council. If it's a county problem, such as a health department, if somebody owned a restaurant or something like that, then your county supervisor, Catherine Barger, would be the one to go to, and she has a district office in Santa Clarita. So that's the short answer. And of course, there's state problems. You have a state assemblyman, state senator.
So how can somebody help you? I mean, for instance, I don't know. I got a problem. I'm trying to open up a restaurant, and I'm having difficulty getting my permits. And I've been trying. I can't get it done. So I say, Wayne. I speak to Wayne, and he goes, "Hey, why don't you call your city council?" What can the city council person do? I mean, they're not in charge of issuing permits. So what can they actually do for you?
Okay, good question. The city of Santa Clarita will have a building and safety department that will issue permits. And sometimes you're dealing, and I'm a former government guy, so it's not a big knock, but you deal with a bureaucracy. And sometimes your matter is just not that important to them, or they're just delayed and they can't get to it, or they're finding picayune reasons, very small reasons to deny you. That's when your council person can advocate for you. They can call building and safety and say, look, Peter Bronson's trying to open up a restaurant. We want good restaurants in Santa Clarita. Is there something we can do to work this out? Or at least urge them to go to the site and meet you and try to find a solution.
And so how many years did you do that?
Well, I did it on 2 staffs of city council members for about 4 or 5 years, and I do it in my legal practice. Part of my practice is real estate and land use, and I represent clients before government agencies, City of LA, I've done City of Santa Clarita, County of Los Angeles, a number of municipal governments in Southern California, and sometimes restaurants or businesses that have problems.
So if somebody does have a legal problem and they're trying to get some regulatory issue done, like zoning, whatever, they can call Wayne Avershow. And Wayne, what is your phone number?
818-995-1100.
And then so now you've been practicing law, you said 20 years. That's a long time. I mean, I hate to tell you this, but I think the people that are the engineers here, I don't even know if they're 20 years old. What are you, 22, 23? I mean...
Well,
I'm 26.
It's good to have a lawyer
26.
It's good to have a lawyer who's practiced more than a week or two.
Well, it certainly is. Experience does count in almost anything. I mean, Patty, experience counts as well.
Absolutely. So, Wayne, I understand you've written a book or 2. Share some of that journey and what those 2 books are about.
Okay, I've written 2 books, and they're completely different. The first one, the most current one, is a novel. It's called Roll the Dice. It's on Amazon, and please check it out. It's bottom line, it's about a rock star that runs for United States Senate, runs for public office. It's set against a political campaign, but the novel explores sort of universal themes, a difficult father-son relationship, a man who turns 50, he's a famous rock star, but he questions his place in life and what if he's done what's important. He has a difficult relationship with his ex-wife, and he has a daughter he's devoted to. So he's trying to juggle all that, and he runs for the United States Senate in Nevada. So it's set in Lake Tahoe, Reno, and a lot of scenes in Las Vegas, which I find a fascinating city. So Roll the Dice is available now, and that was a lot of fun. It's a passion, and I don't know your listeners well, but a lot of us have a passion, and I urge them to follow that passion, whether it be painting, writing, or even changing an occupation or opening a franchise or doing something a little different. We all get one chance in life, so you have to go for it.
Yeah, I think it's great that you were able to step out of the attorney role and into a creative role. I think engaging, like you said, that passion and bringing out some of that creativity, that helps, the right brain, left brain balance, and I think that's great. Did writing that book help you see things differently in life in general? Was that just, was there any change after that book for you?
Well, Patty, I've been on many radio shows, and that's the first time that's a very good question. It's the first time it's been asked. Did it change me? Yes, it did. One is during the process of writing, you become much more observant. And this is true whether you write a novel or I'll get to the second book I wrote, which is more self-help. You become observant of yourself, your habits, and other people around you. I mean, you just see how they interact. You listen, you watch, and you take away ideas and inspiration. So it did do that. Bottom line, I think it made me a more observant human being.
Mm-hmm. That's very common. It's funny you say that because I was just meeting with my coach this morning, and we were talking about just personal development and just my personal journey and experiences. And one of the things that I said was just that. It's become, with my journey, it's been a situation where I am just more of an observer, and not from a judging place or critical, just a place of simply observing, and that's observing myself as well as others. So I could completely hear and see what where you're coming from. Was there anything that inspired specifically in your life that inspired that book?
Well, as I said, I was campaign manager for a couple of different campaigns, and I've advised other campaigns. So I enjoy politics. So I have read novels about law and politics and crime, but I wanted to write a political novel. I know that subject, and I thought I could tell an interesting story, which Roll the Dice has received very good reviews, so I'm very pleased.
Oh, that's awesome.
You're listening to KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM. Your
hometown station. So your second book, tell us about that book.
Well, I wrote this first. Actually, I started the novel, but writing, to write is to rewrite, so it takes a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And to write a novel, you need an agent, a publisher. You can self-publish, but I have an agent and a publisher. My other book was a self-help book, if you will, for attorneys on mediation, how to succeed at mediation. And the goal there was not to sell books. I didn't intend to, and I've not sold one mediation book. I use it as a marketing tool, if you will. And your listeners, if they have an expertise in a field, whether it be mortgage lending, Patty,
mm-hmm.
or something else, or Peter certainly knows business law and franchise law as well as anybody I know. Either one of you or a listener can write. It could be a short book. You can write an article perhaps and try to get that placed. But there's nothing like handing a potential client an article you've written, not just by yourself, but it's been published somewhere. There's something to be said for it being published. And a short book, you can write 30 pages, soft-bound, publish it yourself, and you can hand that out, whether you're an investment banker, whether you're giving people financial advice, insurance advice, mortgage advice, real estate advice. you write that book and you hand it to somebody, they will probably be impressed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's tips I can give you to make certain they're not turned off to it.
Wayne, I don't mean to interrupt, but not everybody knows what mediation is. I'm a lawyer, and you are, but not everyone understands what mediation is and how it works. So why don't you quickly go over what that is? People get confused between mediation, arbitration, alternate dispute resolution.
Right. Mediation is voluntary. It's when two parties, and it's a great way to resolve disputes if they're between neighbors or family or friends, that partners, business partners, that want to keep a reasonable and amicable relationship after the dispute ends. If you go to court, it's much more expensive, it's longer, and you're going to wind up usually really disliking, if not hating each other. But mediation, and it's used often in family law, because if there's children involved, you want to keep a positive relationship with your ex-spouse. And mediation is two people getting together. The mediator is a third party, a neutral party, listens to both sides, applies the law to the matter and the facts of the matter, and tries to negotiate a settlement that both parties, the ideal settlement is both parties meet in a lawyer or retired judge's conference room or office and try to work out a settlement that ideally neither one is thrilled with, but neither one is dead set against. That it's a good settlement. I can live with this. Okay, I didn't get everything I want, but it was quick and cheap, and I'm done.
Yeah.
And how is that different than arbitration?
Arbitration is sort of between lawsuits going to court and mediation. It'd be in the middle of the spectrum. Arbitration usually is the only way it works. It's binding, but an arbitrator, you can go through a discovery process, written requests back and forth. You usually have to have an attorney involved. Mediation, you could do it yourself with or without an attorney. Arbitration, you should have an attorney. You don't absolutely have to, but you should. And again, a retired judge or experienced attorney can resolve your dispute. And again, it's more time consuming, more costly, and more written discovery. You can even have depositions, oral questioning of witnesses and parties. So if it's a minor dispute, though relatively minor, mediation's the way to go, especially, again, partners, family law, friends, family that want to keep a positive relationship.
We only have about a minute left before we're going to commercial break. And what is binding?
Binding means all right, mediation is not binding. Either party can leave and say goodbye. I'm not doing this. Arbitration, there's a ruling. The arbitrator issues a ruling, and that ruling is binding in a court of law. So, Peter, if you and I had a dispute and you don't like it, but an arbitrator ruled, well, tough luck, Peter. I'm going to court to enforce the ruling.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah. I was going to say earlier before we go to commercial, I personally, when I went through my divorce, we used a mediator, and it certainly did simplify things. We had agreed on everything going in, and we both understood that, the mediator was the better way to go. It would save us financially, and we were both, there was nothing to really contest. So, definitely a great way to go. You're listening to your hometown station, KHTS, AM 1220, FM 98.1. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Move on from what's familiar and discover what's possible in your relationships. This is Jasmine Urbina, inviting you to tune in to The Inspirational Parent as my dad and I tap into a fresh perspective on modern parenting relationships and dish out the magical ingredients for effective parenting exclusively on KHTS. Catch us live every Friday on The Inspirational Parent from 12 to 1 or download our podcast at hometownstation.com.
Live life juiced up at Juice It Up Valencia. Come in and try our great tasting smoothies, protein shakes, acai, and wheatgrass for your healthy lifestyle on the go. Also, enjoy our 10 flavors of tantalizing zinc frozen yogurt and selection of healthy toppings. Juice It Up Valencia is located at the corner of Newhall Ranch Road and Copper Hill Drive in the Office Depot Plaza. Open Monday through Saturday from 7 a.m. until 9 p.m. and Sundays from 8 until 8. And remember to live life juiced up at Juice It Up Valencia.
Buying your home can sometimes be challenging. That's why Charlene Gill with CSMC Mortgage is your Santa Clarita mortgage expert. What's important to you is to secure a loan at the best possible rate, to have a professional guide you through the process, and to close on time. Charlene's 23 years in the mortgage industry and her personal expert knowledge in the Santa Clarita Valley makes her your mortgage expert. Contact Charlene at hometownstation.com/Charlene. That's hometownstation.com/Charlene.
We all know someone impacted by the Las Vegas tragedy. It touched our valley and thousands of households. Many of us were actually there. In Santa Clarita, we had 1 fatality and 14 injured by bullets. Many more were injured trying to escape. Others are still traumatized by their ordeal, finding challenges returning to normal lives. The law firm of Owen, Patterson, Owen is helping many Las Vegas victims get financial assistance for their ordeal. If you know someone impacted by the shooting, visit opolaw.com.
At City of Hope, we don't believe the future can wait for the future. For over a century, we've been advancing science that saves lives. From 4 of the world's top cancer-fighting drugs to the development of synthetic human insulin, we are maximizing the potential of immunotherapy and making precision medicine a reality. It's not enough to promise future cures for cancer. We must find them sooner. We are the miracle of science with soul. Find out more at cityofhope.org.
Santa Clarita Valley has a long history of safe, reliable water service. SCV Water is dedicated to increasing efficiencies, protecting our vital resources, and improving their customers' experiences. That's you. Meet them at their new home on the web at yourscvwater.com. There, you can find the latest news, rebates, and much more. That's yourscvwater.com. They can't wait to serve you.
Do you like to rock across Africa?
Then the wait is over.
Africa Rocks! Africa's Greatest Hits is now available at the San Diego Zoo! And who could forget 99 red baboons?
Or the African-crested porcupine smash hit, I Got Quills to Pay the Bills! Hey, don't get too close!
And the hits keep on coming!
Africa Rocks has all your favorites from 6 different African habitats.
Hungry like a leopard!
Ibex is back!
Harder, better, Fossa stronger!
And a new track from Kendrick Lemur!
Now, Larry.
Yes, Chuck?
A collection of this magnitude, I'd fly to Africa!
Well, don't pack your bags, friend. Africa Rocks is only available right here at the San Diego Zoo.
Wow, that really does rock.
No, it Africa Rocks.
Welcome to Africa Rocks. Experience 6 different African habitats, including our first ever aquatic enclosure with African penguins. Only at the San Diego Zoo.
Politics. Am I on or what?
Yes.
I hope I was on all that time. You know,
You're
I don't
on.
want to have to repeat myself.
You're on.
I'll have to say, and 98.1 FM 3 times. Anyway, we're back with Wayne Avershow. He's an attorney. In addition to being an attorney, he was in politics, was chief of staff for a couple of politicians, and don't hold that against him, by the way, but he can help you with some political issues potentially down the road, and he's written 2 books. One he wrote as a self-publishing, and one he wrote through the agent. So the book that you wrote through the agent, that was the...
that was the novel.
That's the Roll the Dice. Is that correct? Hello?
Wayne,
About a rock star running for public office.
Okay. And so how did you get that book published? What was the process there?
Okay, first of all, it's a lengthy process. I want everybody to know that. The second book was shorter, but it's a lengthy process. I took writing courses at UCLA Extension, so if you're not a natural writer, you have to get educated on how to do it. There's so much information on the Internet on writing, on how to write. You can buy books, you can attend seminars, but you really should educate yourself on how to write. So I wrote the book. I entered it in a couple of contests of unpublished works because I wanted the credibility, and I won a contest from a fairly famous review site called Kirkus, Kirkus, as one of the best unpublished works of 2013. And I thought I was done, and then I showed it to a friend of mine, and he said, well, he was an expert. He was the head of direct development at Universal Pictures, and he said, you can make one or two changes. So I made one or two changes. I rewrote it. And then I sent out letters. You send out one-page query letters to agents, which there's a book of guide to literary agents. So you go through that, you send out 100 letters, you wait months to get rejection after rejection, and then boom, you get 5 agents that said send us more. So I sent 3 chapters, 5 chapters, and then 3 agents said this looks good, send us the whole book. So that everything takes months. And finally, I signed with an agent out of New York, a literary agent, Linda Langton, Langton, who's been a successful agent. And she sold the book to a small publisher, not the biggest, but not the smallest. And the book is on Amazon now. It's available, called Roll the Dice. So it's a long process. It's not easy to get an agent and find a publisher in today's world. That was the novel. Now, I did write, and this might have some interest for your listeners, a self-help book for lawyers. We've talked about it, Mediation. That's a much shorter book, and anybody, if you write a self-help book, again, whether you're a mortgage broker, investment advisor, a therapist, a lawyer, you write a book, you become the expert in the field to a lot of people. So it can be a short book. The one big piece of advice I'd give everybody is you have to have an editor. You just have to, no matter how good you are. It has to be proofread and edited by an outside person, somebody that knows what they're doing. It might cost you a little bit of money, shouldn't cost you too much, but it's well worth it because everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has typos. So you write a short book, have somebody edit, review it, have it visually interesting, photographs, diagrams, what have you, and have it readable. You don't want to get too much in details. In my mediation book, I don't write about the law too much. I write about solving problems. And that was my approach, and that was well received as well.
And that when you self-published? I
self-published that, and I use it, again, I don't sell it. I use it as a marketing tool for mediation. And I think it's a problem-solving book. I think it helps people have a good way to look at solving problems and not necessarily trying to kill the other side in a legal dispute and leave them smoking in ashes, but to have a resolution that is reasonable, cost-effective, and relatively a short period of time.
And if someone wants that book, they can just contact Ask Brien, AskBrien.com, and we'll make sure you get a copy of the book, and we'll notify Wayne, and Wayne will send it to you, and you'll have information from Wayne. So anyone that wants that has a problem, could be any type of problem, but we're focused on business problems here. If you have a business problem, certainly mediation is an opportune method. You went very quickly over both approaches. I'd like to get a little bit more detailed on the process. For instance, let's start with the agent process, right? So, what is the name of the book that you used to find agents?
It's a very large book called Guide to Literary Agents. It's published every year, once a year. There's a new edition, 2018, a new edition, and has every agent, I believe, imaginable in different genres. In other words, some agents do children's books, some do fiction, some do nonfiction, some do romance. Many do more than one, and it gives you the contact information. Do they want a one-page letter? Do they want an email? Who do you send it to? So you just have to go through it and check off the ones who fit your genre.
And how did you find out about that book?
I don't remember. I'm dating myself in a way because I went to a Barnes & Noble in Encino that no longer exists.
I know where that is.
Okay, where it was. Yeah. Well, it's like going to Borders near the movie theaters in Valencia. There's no more Borders. It's Gold's Gym.
Yeah.
So all the bookstores, not all, some are still there. Barnes & Noble is in Valencia. You can get it online or go to the Barnes & Noble in Valencia Guide to Literary Agents.
So you have done both, published, self-published, and used an agent. If you were to write a third book, which path would you choose?
Well, I'm writing a sequel to the novel now, and I would show it to my agent now, show it to Linda, and see if she was interested and be prepared to rewrite it. And I would go that route for a novel. If I did a short legal book or business how-to book, then you self-publish that because it's not that commercial. It just is not. Patty, you wrote a few books, am I correct? So.
Yes, I wrote 4, and I self-published them all. When I wrote my first one, I did an exhaustive amount of research and compared the traditional publishing house versus the self-publishing route. More recently, there's this hybrid publisher that's out. And
what's a hybrid?
It's kind of a combination of you're doing a lot of the work yourself, the self-publishing piece of it, but it's published and distributed by a publishing house.
So they handle the distribution end of it.
Yeah. Yes.
Who handles all the copyrights?
I believe you do that yourself as part of your ISBN and all that.
You can. I went to my self-published. I actually went to somebody to self-publish. They format it. They make the cover look nice. You do need somebody to do that for you, and it costs, but it's worth it because you get a finished product. You get a professional-looking book, and they can take care of all the copyright data and registrations.
Yeah, I ended up self-publishing through CreateSpace, which is the marketing arm of Amazon. And yes, I had to hire an outside designer for the book cover. I hired an outside editor to clean it up. But the CreateSpace helped me to get the LCCN number. I got the ISBN numbers. I supplied that to CreateSpace. They actually I had it formatted. So all I did was pretty much give them a complete book. And then it goes to Amazon automatically, and it could be made to Kindle, so the process was very, very simple, which is why I did all 4 books the same way, because it was such a great process. And I would probably do it again that way. And I chose that route primarily because when I researched the self-publishing versus, working with a publishing house, is I was still responsible for promotion and distribution and really getting out there and marketing and working it. They weren't going to help me in promoting it at all. And I thought, well, if I'm going to be doing all the work, why should I pay you all that money? The royalties were ridiculous versus the self-publishing, I keep so much more. So that was kind of why, along with the fact that the process has gotten so simple with the internet.
Wayne, that's a good question. So what are the different costs between self-publishing and going to the route that you did on the Roll the Dice and what's a standard rate? You don't have to tell me what your rate was, but what standard rates are. Well,
if you have a agent and publisher, the publisher does all the work, and they have the agent had an editor, the publisher has an editor. The publisher formats it. The publisher sent me a couple of book covers for my comment on and input on. They do all that work. You still need to do your own publicity. They do some, but I have somebody help me and serve as a publicist. If you have something commercial that's worthy of being published, that has an audience, then it's great. Get an agent and publisher. It's not easy, but if you can do it, wonderful. If it's, again, less commercial, and Patty's book, I don't know Patty's books, but my book on mediation was not a commercial. It's not going to sell a lot of copies. It's only really for California lawyers. I think it can be used by others to solve problems, but it's focused on solving legal problems. So in that case, you self-publish, CreateSpace. I'm aware of it. It is the arm of Amazon, so it's very credible. But if you go online, you'll see many self-publishers, and you may spend. I'll just ballpark it. You could spend 3,000 to 5,000, maybe 2,000 to 5,000 on the various registrations and filing fees and editing and formatting, things like that. And then you want to publish a reasonable amount of copies, because the more you publish, obviously, it's less per book, but you don't want to go overboard. You don't want to have 10,000 of them sitting in your garage. So you just have to think through, how am I going to use the book? What's the goal of the book? And how many should I print? You can always print more, but you ought to have a sufficient number for your first go-round.
But how much percentage, if you could give us that, how much percentage if you go the other route for Roll the Dice? You have to pay the agent money, the publisher gets money. I mean, the book sells for $20. What are you getting, 30 cents?
No, I'm more than 30 cents. I wrote the book out of a passion, and I wanted to sell as many as possible, but I did not write it really to make a lot of money on it. If I'll make some money on it, which would be great. But an author will get about, when all the dust clears, about 60% after the agent and publisher take their share.
Well, that's not too bad. And then you said you have to do your own publicity for that, or no?
The publisher does some publicity for all their authors, which is good. But you should do your own publicity. But the key is, now, if you're skilled at Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, you can do a lot of it yourself. I was not skilled, but I've become more knowledgeable. But I do have somebody help me posting. I write blogs on cultural events, political events, business matters. I tie them into my book, into Roll the Dice, the novel, and then we post excerpts on Facebook and direct people to my webpage, which is my name, Wayne Avershow, and it's Wayne, WayneAV like Victor, RASHOW.com. So that's my webpage. And again, if you go on Amazon, you get a good idea of the book based on the Amazon summary, and there's about 35 reviews up there.
That's great. You made a good point earlier, and that was that we don't always write books to make a lot of money. There's very few people, the bestsellers, New York Times bestsellers, that make a nice income from books. But I think most of us who are authors in the world, we use it as a stepping stone to open doors for the next, whether it be doing a workshop, a seminar, just for obtaining clients.
Don't tell that to Stephen King or John Grisham. But.
Well, those are the few that do well. I mean, there are certainly those out there, but I think the majority, they don't do it to think that they're going to become millionaires or multimillionaires, selling books. But that opens the doors, and you could, donate the books. Get sponsors. Like there's the route to something that I've been trying to do, is get corporate sponsors to buy the book to donate to schools or donate to universities, or of that kind of fashion. But if I want to do a workshop and I want to, the books on the back of the room, they can buy a book in the back of the room for $10 or whatever, or any other type of.
So are you selling them, or are they free?
Oh no, they're for sale. They are for sale. I'm using them in my business, and I'm giving them as gifts to like I said earlier, the partners that I work with and the clients that I work with. But no, I'm not on the street corner handing them out for free.
Well, I'll tell you, there's one approach. When you write a novel, the dream of every novelist is to have their book optioned for video, for film. And my agent will soon be doing that with Roll the Dice. It's a visual story, so we hope that happens.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. And there's less book publishers and less book stores, but there's more entities buying content for video. If you think about streaming, Hulu, Amazon, there's many more TV channels, cable channels, than there ever were. There's channels I never heard of that are on. And so there's more content being bought for video. So that's the hope and dream. My agent has sold a couple of her novels for a video. Her biggest success was the movie Trumbo about screenwriter Dalton Trumbo about 4 years ago that won Academy Awards. So the hope is Roll the Dice is sold for video or TV purposes.
All right. Can I claim a spot in the movie? Can I?
Well, we'll have to. We'll give that strong consideration, Patty.
I'm going to mark my spot now. We're about a minute away from the next commercial break. Tell us again, just so for those listeners who might have just tuned in, where they can contact you and find your information.
Okay. The book Roll the Dice is on Amazon or Goodreads or BarnesandNoble.com and some Barnes & Noble stores. My contact information, AskBrien.com is good if somebody wants a copy of the mediation book. Happy to supply it to them. If they had any other questions, my email is WALAW@sbcglobal.net.
Wonderful. You're listening to your hometown station, KHTS, AM 1220, 98.1 FM. We'll be right back.
Healthcare can be difficult if you're underinsured or have Medi-Cal. Samuel Dixon Family Health Center can help. Services are available on a sliding fee schedule. The mission of the Samuel Dixon Family Health Center is to give the Santa Clarita Valley access to affordable, quality primary care. There are 3 locations to serve you: Canyon Country, Newhall, and Valverde. Go to sdfhc.org for more information and to find the location most convenient for you.
Party Homes makes the home buying process a breeze. Come see our 3 new neighborhoods in Santa Clarita, priced from the mid-500s to the high 700s, with options for families and 55-plus active adults. Our newest neighborhood, Cresta, opens March 31st. Design and build the home of your dreams, or choose from professionally designed, move-in ready homes. Call 661-666-2342 to set up an appointment today.
Something big is coming to Castaic.
Is it a dinosaur, Bob?
No, Blanche.
Is it the 2020 Olympics?
No.
I know. We're finally hosting the World Cup.
No, silly. They're building Castaic High.
Bob, no way.
Go visit CastaicHighProject.com. You'll get all the latest details.
What's that web address again, Bob?
CastaicHighProject.com.
Again?
CastaicHighProject.com.
Bigger than a dinosaur?
That's right. CastaicHighProject.com.
There's only one Santa Clarita plastic surgeon who is Yale trained and board certified, Dr. Justin Heller.
To be a board certified plastic surgeon like myself, what that truly entails is about 5 to 7 years of honed surgical training in reconstructive, all areas, as well as aesthetics, which means your facelifts, your breast augmentations, your body contouring, true training, and board certification. In fact, that's the only board certified area that can be achieved in this realm.
Dr. Justin Heller, warm, understanding, always available for guidance because he's local. HellerPlasticSurgery.com.
Buying your home can sometimes be challenging. That's why Charlene Gill with CSMC Mortgage is your Santa Clarita mortgage expert. What's important to you is to secure a loan at the best possible rate, to have a professional guide you through the process, and to close on time. Charlene's 23 years in the mortgage industry and her personal expert knowledge in the Santa Clarita Valley makes her your mortgage expert. Contact Charlene at hometownstation.com/Charlene. That's hometownstation.com/Charlene.
City of Hope is a world leader in cancer research and treatment. And there's a City of Hope community practice location right here in Santa Clarita, eliminating a major barrier in the fight against cancer: distance to quality care. Santa Clarita benefits from City of Hope's compassionate care and renowned clinical expertise. Find out more at cityofhope.org/Santa Clarita or call 661-799-1999.
Hello, hello, hello. Okay, we're back on KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM. We have a wonderful guest, Wayne Avershow. He's got quite a background. We've been speaking to him for the last about 50 minutes, and basically he's got a very, very wide background. He's an attorney, has his own law practice. Previously, he was working as chief of staff for different politicians, and he's written 2 books. One, a self-help book, Mediation, and another book, which is a novel called Roll the Dice, which is hoping to become into a movie. So Wayne, during the break we were talking. You're going to share some of your situations. Business owners here, they have a problem, and especially the way the government is today, they're concerned. Do I really want to call? So great, I can't get my permit. Do I really want to call the government? I mean, the government has not exactly been very efficient in the last couple decades. People feel that, hey, it's just a hindrance because they're regulating. So I was wondering if you could share some stories of success stories of how somebody who owns a furniture store or something, or any type of store, has had some success and went through the political system.
Okay, great. Yes, and one comes to mind quickly. It was in Santa Clarita. It was a local establishment, bar slash, bar food type of business, and they had a jukebox and they had a small, and I emphasize small, a dance floor. It was not a big club; it was more a larger neighborhood place, if you will. And people, would have a beer and they'd dance with their man or girlfriend or wife. Okay, fine. Anyways, they were cited by the city of Santa Clarita as they needed a dance permit. So they contacted me, and I looked at the city code, and dance permit to me meant more of a club, that had a large dance floor and DJs and lights and everything. It should not apply to this small little neighborhood place. So we had the hearing. I could not convince the planning staff of the city at the time that hey, I think you guys are wrong. So it went to the city's of Santa Clarita's Planning Commission, and we rallied supporters and patrons, and they came and they spoke, and they said, look, all we want to do is and I took pictures and urged the city to visit. This is a small little dance floor. You can get 10 people on here. This does not require a very expensive dance permit that would require many more things. If you fall into one box, sometimes that means, okay, you need more parking, or you need this, or you need that, or that. So that was one example. And then I thought of the staying on the dance theme. There's a restaurant in the San Fernando Valley. It's a tremendous restaurant. Its waiters dance. It's an ethnic restaurant, and the music comes on, and the waiters start dancing. Well, I'm going back 15, 20 years for the city of Los Angeles, said you need a dance permit. Almost same issue. And I just thought, no, the patrons aren't dancing. The waiters are dancing, and maybe somebody will, lock arms with the waiter and dance for a minute or two. So we were successful in defeating that. And then in the city of LA, there was a church group that came to me. They wanted to open a church in an industrial zone. In a zone, every piece of property in every city has a zone on it, regulations on it. And the church did not quite fit this industrial zone. But there were ways to do it. There were ways to get a city to approve it with either sometimes a variance, sometimes it's called a conditional use permit. And there's public hearings, and you talk to the council member, and we were able to help that church. It's not a business, but I felt good. There was the only client I ever had that literally was praying before the hearing, for a good result. So whether it's a restaurant, a bar, a church, another restaurant, I remember I represented them in their lease and approvals. And then later on, they had a health department issue with the County of Los Angeles. And the problem was not, there might have been, I don't know if there's a problem in the kitchen or not, but they couldn't get the county health department to visit after they'd done what they thought was the remedial work. We want to get that B out of the window. They have that code for a restaurant. We want the A, and we couldn't get the health department. They could not get the health department to come back. It was just like it was going to take weeks or months. And so I called the county supervisor in Santa Clarita. If it had happened in Santa Clarita, it'd be Catherine Barger, and asked their office. I said, I'm not asking you to say whether it passes the health test or not. Could you just have the health department go out there and inspect it? So they did. So you can sometimes get government to move, and hopefully, I represent a lot of businesses. That's my main practice. And it's hard to make the case that government's here to help you, but in some cases they can help you. You just have to know how to proceed.
So we have about 40 seconds left. What would be your main tip to somebody to try to make that connection with a, you have political connections, not everybody does.
Right. First of all, I try to resolve it with whoever you're dealing with, building and safety planning, whoever. Try to find out, listen, not only give your side of it, but listen to what exactly they're citing is the problem. And if you can resolve it quickly, okay, I could do that, I could move that. Just do it and be done with it. If it's unreasonable, you feel it's unreasonable, contact your local city council person or county supervisor.
Well, thank you very much, Wayne. I hate to end it now, but we've got to go to commercial break. You've been a wonderful guest. Thank you very much.
Thank you both.
Thank you.